Hello everyone, this video is based on the topic verbs, which is part of your paper grammar and usage, and it covers three chapters from the textbook, identifying grammatical labels and function labels of words. Second is verb in function, gerund, infinitives and participles. Third is mood and modality. So this video will be covering classification and function of verbs. First of all, let's see what a verb is. A verb is a content word or a form class word which decides what the subject does in a sentence, and it conveys an action or an occurrence or a state of being. For example, when we say she plays, that is an action. When we say that uh, she feels sad, it is a state of being. So they are classified into different categories. Let's see how they are classified. Verbs are first classified into two. They are main verbs and auxiliary verbs. Main verbs are also known as lexical verbs because they have a meaning of their own. They can actually make sense without the help of any other support. Um, and auxiliary verbs are helping verbs. They do not carry usually their own meaning. Main verbs are further divided into different categories based on their uh, capacity to take object, whether they are describing an action or state, whether they form their past tense or participle using certain inflectional suffixes, and also they are categorized as based on whether they link a complement. So the first division is based on taking an object. A verb that can take an object is called a transitive verb. That do not take an object is called an intransitive verb. So when we say she saw a movie, the sentence won't be complete without a movie. That a movie is the object of the sentence, and the verb saw is actually taking that object. So it is called a transitive verb. But when we say she walks fast, we do not have an object in the sentence and it makes complete sense. So it is an intransitive verb. Walks is an intransitive verb. Verbs like walk, ran, work, etc., they do not require an object. So they usually will be intransitive. Now, in a transitive verb, it can have two objects at times, like which is called a direct object and an indirect object. An example is she presented him a watch on his birthday. So here the indirect object usually comes before the direct object. So in the sentence, him is the indirect object, watch is the direct object. So that's about transitive and intransitive verbs. Now talking about linking verbs are used intransitively usually, and they are used to link the subject to the subject complement. Example is the man was silent. The was there, which is functioning as a connection between the subject, the man, and the complement silent. It is called a linking verb. Even though usually we use the forms of be, am, is, was, were, being, been, etc. as linking verbs. We have some other linking verbs like appear, become, look, remain. For example, if we say the man remained silent, the remained is there a linking verb. Now the second category is action or the third category is action or state described. Whether the verb is describing an action or a state of being. So verbs like fight, run, go, write, explore, everything is talking about an action. So they are called dynamic verbs. If the verb is not talking about an action, or rather it is talking about a non-action situation where we have see, feel, need, seem, love, remain, remember, impress, etc., then they are stative verbs. Next category is based on the formation of past tense and participle. They are regular and irregular verbs. Regular verbs are formed. Regular verbs are called those verbs which have their past tense forms and participle forms formed using the inflectional suffixes like ed, d, or t. So, for some examples are study, studied, studied, send, sent, sent, work, worked, worked, cook, cooked, cooked. Irregular verbs, on the other hand, they form their past tense and participle forms in various ways, like eat, eaten, eat, ate, eaten, drink, drank, drunk, do, did, done, sing, sang, sung, throw, threw, thrown. These are examples of irregular verbs. Now, auxiliary or helping verbs. We have primary auxiliaries, modal auxiliaries, semi-modal auxiliaries. What are the primary auxiliaries? They are be, have, and do. They take part in the formation of various grammatical constructions, but they cannot carry a meaning of their own because they cannot stand alone. Now, modal auxiliaries and semi-modal auxiliaries, they are related to the concept of modality, um, a term referred to which refers to the attitude of the speaker towards the state of the world. They use to say whether something is real or true. They tell us whether what they talk about is a speculation or a definite knowledge. These subtle nuances are expressed through modal auxiliaries and semi-modal auxiliaries. Examples for modal auxiliaries are can, could, may, might, will, shall, would, should, must, etc. In the case of semi-modals, they are dare, need, ought to, and used to. A verb like the noun has a number of specifications. Whether it is a main verb or an auxiliary verb, it should change its number according to the subject's decision, based on the number of the subject, the tense carried by the sentence, and the person of the sentence. All these, the subject, there will be a change in the verb. It is such verbs are called actually finite verbs. For example, when we say he works or she works in a hospital, there the verb changes because the subject is third person singular. In the second sentence, like we work in a hospital, we being plural and first person, we have this change in the verb work. And again, there will be a change based on the tense. If we are talking about past tense, then we worked in the hospital will be the way we will talk about it. So the verb changes according to the person, tense, and number. The agreement between the subject and the verb in a sentence is called concord. Now, verbs in function. Based on their function, the verb can be categorized into gerund, infinitive, and participle. What is a gerund? Let's see. A gerund is an ing form used as the subject of a verb, or it can function as a noun. It's also called a verb noun. An infinitive is a basic form of the verb. It can be categorized as an infinitive with a to and without a to, which is called a bare infinitive. The third category is participle. It could be present participle, past participle, or perfect participle. Now let's see the uses of a gerund. A gerund is used as the subject of a verb. Like gardening is my favorite hobby. Like the object of a transitive verb. I enjoy reading. Third as a subject complement. We'll learn about complement later, as I told you. Uh, our primary need is building up a strong immune system. So building is the subject complement. Uh, the fourth is as an object of a preposition. He is fond of eating sweets. Of and its object of is eating here. Here are some uses of infinitives. Infinitive can function as the subject of a verb. Like to drink water is important. There are two infinitive is actually uh, functioning as the subject. Then object of a verb. He likes to play cards. There object of a verb. Subject complement. His job is to assist you. So it is a complement to the subject his job. Then object of a preposition. The program is about to start. About is a preposition and after that the two infinitive. They qualify an adjective, that is mangoes are delicious to eat. To qualify a verb or a noun, when it is a noun you use it as this is the place to stay. Here to stay qualifies the place. And we study to score marks. There study is the verb and this to score is actually qualifying that verb study. Now uses of participles. Present participle or the ing form, it is used to uh, convey actions going on and incomplete. uh, Examples are I see a deer running across the garden. I'm now seeing is and the deer is going on running. So that's what a present participle does. Then an action that is performed simultaneously with another. She rode the bicycle humming a song. So riding a bicycle and humming the song is simultaneous. It was an interesting movie. There, the movie is qualified. It's an adjective there, interesting. So what you have to notice is that there is a similarity between the way present participle and gerund is. But gerund usually functions as a noun, and participle can be an adjective or a qualifying word at times. Now, as an adverb modifying an adjective. For example, she is dripping wet. So we can use them instead of a phrase starting with as, because, and since. For example, as she was hungry, she ordered a heavy meal. Being hungry, she ordered a heavy meal. To form continuous tense, I am studying. Then, as a predicate of a sentence, like the drama was moving, something that comes after the verb, which actually tells something more about the um, subject or the whole sentence. Now, moving on to the past participle, it is used to form perfect tense. I have studied. To form a passive voice. The snake was killed by the boys. To form an adjective. To form an adjective like used cars, washed clothes, etc. The next is as an adverb modifying an adjective, like he was dead drunk. Now, perfect participle specifically is used to signify an action that has been completed in the past. Having sung the song, she went away. Having been elected as president, he thanked all members. Now let's see what a complement is. Complements are one of the five major elements of clause structure. The other four are subject, verb, object, and adjunct. Uh, Here the complements are given in bold letters. Both the brothers became doctors. So after became, there comes something that tells more about the brothers. Playing the guitar always makes me happy. So happy is a compliment. Subject and object complements are there. Um, in clauses with linking verbs, we saw what a linking verb is, like be, seem, become. Complements which follow the verb and which add information about the subject are called subject complements. Sheila is a nurse, adding some information about Sheila. All of them seemed surprised. So these are details that we get about the subjects. Complements which add more information about the object are called object complements. He makes me very angry. So this angry is actually something that gives more details about the object, that is me. A complement is necessary in order to complete the meaning. So that's all about verbs. Thank you for watching.